All right, thank you everyone for being here. We really appreciate your time this morning. We're excited to have this is our third monthly program here, and we're going to continue to do these every month into June, and then we will be taking a break in July because I know a lot of folks are kind of doing other things in July, and then we will be back in August. So we're excited to have this morning, and thank you again for taking time, to be here with us. So as always, we will have the same sort of, timeline here of what we usually do. We're going to have a video from Constance Hollingsworth Pierce with talk about Pro Tools, so she'll have Brewing Success, so we'll show that video in a minute. And then we have Jamie Vaughn here to talk a little bit about NCcareers. He'll be our spotlight topic. And then we'll have some open discussion time. A few things just to take note on as I kind of kick us off. In case this is your first time here, I'm April Query. I'm the CFNC. Here we go. I'll put it back to me right here. I'm the CFNC Assistant Vice President of College Access and Community Outreach. You can reach out to me if you need to. Kind of just means that I head up our outreach efforts across the state. So take note of a couple things. Soon you will see in your inboxes and on social media, we are going to have some C2C save the dates coming soon. We're just finalizing a couple things, so that's coming soon. Did you know, as we have Jamie here to join us from NCcareers, CFNC and NCcareers have the same login. So when students have their CFNC login, it also works to get them on NCcareers, all the same login there. So that's hopefully an easier thing for our students. Find us. So we are going to be at the North Carolina School Administrator Conference. That's next week. If there's anyone on here that will be at that, we'll be there. And also the HOSA conference that's coming up in just a few weeks. So we'll be there as also. So come find us. And a big congratulations to Granville Early College High School. It's their Student Services Office who won coffee for their Student Services Office last month. So congratulations to Granville Early College High School. And just by being here today, you are entered in to have your office win coffee also. And so we'll be picking that winner this week as well. And just as a reminder, these are recorded and live. We have a YouTube channel for the virtual coffee breaks, as well as the Brewing Success videos with Pro Tools. They have their own playlist as well. And let us know where you are in the state. So use that chat, ask questions, you guys talk to each other. This is supposed to be a little more relaxed, a little more informal, even though I know we are recording. But let us know where you are in the state. Say hello to folks. So use that space. Okay, so let's kick off with our video, our monthly video from Constance Hollingsworth Pierce. And we're going to pop on over to that video right now. Yes, thank you. Continue to put that in the chat. And I think we're good to go on sound. So away we go with our Brewing Success video from Constance.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Brewing Success, 5 Minutes Counselor's Guide with Constance. And I'm Constance Hollingsworth Pierce. And today we're going to take 5 minutes or less to talk about career assessments. Did you know that CFNC partners with NCcareers? Yes. Your students can go to NCcareers.org to learn more about careers and their future right here in North Carolina. And guess what? We partner with them so that you can get their information. So when your students go to NCcareers.org and they choose to sign in, guess what? They have two options, OMG, two options to sign in. We want to make sure that your students are using the CFNC account creation. They should already have a CFNC account. So this makes perfect sense. When your students go into NCcareers.org and they sign in using their CFNC accounts, when they take those assessments, you get to see their information. We've done the work for you. So let's see how that looks for you. One of our assessments that we partner with NCcareers is on career cluster matches. It helps users identify the career and technical education career clusters that matches that specific combination of work. And it's right here in your Pro Tools account. We wanted to make sure in our Pro Tools help is where at this screenshot, it looks just like your Pro Tools account. So our Pro Tools help is there to mimic what you see in your Pro Tools account to make it even easier for you. So once your students take the career assessment for the career cluster match, you can see here the data that you need for your students. It gives the clusters, the pathways, and one of the wonderful things you see, it says click on the cluster and pathway names to view the related careers. What better data can you have to build on the necessary twos for your students as you are working to making sure you're meeting them where they are? Another assessment is the interest.
Okay, so we've got some folks saying that the video isn't moving through, but it's moving for me. So what we'll do is I'll work on it from this end. If we've learned anything with the videos and stuff in these, it's to be flexible. So what we'll do, if it's okay with everyone, is I know Constance is talking about, so the point of her video was to tie in what you can do in Pro Tools as it relates to the career assessments the students are taking on CFNC and in NCcareers. So we'll give that a go again in just a couple of minutes. So what I'll do is I'll stop share and I will let Jamie take over here. We are super excited to have Jamie Vaughn. He is the Senior Analyst for Market Intelligence for the North Carolina Department of Commerce. So if it's okay with you, we'll pass it on over to you, Jamie.
Absolutely. So actually, I was really excited to hear the video, and again, you coordinated well, and really appreciate the partnership between CFNC and NCcareers specifically. Yeah. So and actually, the video might actually be a little bit better after, quite honestly, my slides, because I talk a lot about, I really kind of close talking about Pro Tools and things like that. And that's an area where I am not super knowledgeable, and you guys obviously are the experts in that. So I think that might be really valuable kind of moving forward. So hi, everybody. Really appreciate it. Again, appreciate the opportunity to speak here today. As April introduced me, my name is Jamie Vaughn. I'm with the Labor and Economic Analysis Division with the North Carolina Department of Commerce. And we are the agency that really spearheads the effort for NCcareers. NCcareers really is a partnership, as I'll talk about just in a little bit. It is not a lead product. It is not a commerce product. It's a product of education workforce partners. So my point in saying that is that CFNC is a major partner, as we heard a little bit out here. But again, you guys are owners in this site. DPI is a major partner, along with community colleges, UNC System, Division of Health and Human Services, lots of other education partners. So hopefully you're using this site. If you're not, kind of my goal today was, again, just to give everybody a opportunity to see the site. Again, it's nccareers.org, available 100% free and open to anybody and everybody across the state or in anywhere that has internet access. I'm always happy, so let me make sure I have the chat on. I have the chat on. And if you have questions, I'm certainly happy to answer them. I'll try to monitor the chat as I'm talking and stop. But of course, always happy to answer questions at the end as well. So let's go ahead and kind of move forward. So again, the topic is, again, we're talking about career exploration. It's for everybody from your computer. So I always like to put everybody kind of on a baseline of, what is career exploration? What is career planning? Webster's dictionary is a series of steps to help clarify and determine short and long-term career goals. That's great. But when I talk to a lot of folks and they think about planning, a lot of folks really think about planning as a pipeline, right? You go in one piece, you get processed through the pipeline, then you get finished at the end. Career exploration, career planning is really a never-ending process. I've been in the working world for 30 years or so. At this point, I've reinvented myself 4, 5, 6 times over that time. And quite honestly, in the 15, maybe plus 20 years that I have left kind of in the working world, I'm probably going to have to reinvent myself 2 or 3 times again, kind of moving forward. The point is that I like to think about career exploration and career planning more as a circle than a pipeline. A circle indicates you enter and exit at any one point based on where you are and what information you're looking for, where you are kind of in your journey. But a good career plan, career exploration process really includes components of exploration about yourself as well as careers, making decisions, setting goals, and then ultimately taking action. And that's ultimately why we created NCcareers. So why did we big picture, take and partner with CFNC and lots of other agencies and partners to create NCcareers. Because previously, and maybe some of you are still doing this now, when you'd want to learn information about career exploration, you'd have to go to multiple sources. ONET, Star Jobs, Occupational Outlook Handbook, Career One Stop, Leads Employment Projections, lots of data sources. And when you're doing that, you're piecing things together, right? We wanted to remove that process to make it easier to have a one-stop shop moving forward. And so there are also private products that some school systems and some places pay for, which is expensive. So what happened there with the expense? That limited access to some individuals that may be in underserved populations and other underserved communities. We wanted to make sure everybody had the equal access to this valuable information. We also wanted to align education and occupations. So we wanted to make sure that when folks were interested in occupations, that they could align their education. We didn't want folks to go to school and start studying something and then realize, wait, this doesn't align with any interest that I have in terms of, or maybe these occupations really aren't going to meet the standards that I want to live my life due to needs or experience or wages or things like that. So we wanted to, again, share that information up front. We also wanted to be able to capture the information for future use. And it was already talked about that we partner with CFNC. CFNC actually powers our login, and then there's Pro Tools' ability to access it as educators from there. And then, as I already talked about, we wanted to make sure that everybody had access to the same information. So again, removing barriers for some individuals. So as I talked about earlier, who is NCcareers? NCcareers is you guys. It's everybody. It's CFNC, it's DPI, it's community colleges, it's UNC System Schools, it's Labor and Economic Analysis Division, it's the Division of Workforce Solutions, it's North Carolina Independent Colleges and Universities, North Carolina Business Committee for Education, Department of Health and Human Services, along with NC Works Commission, My Future NC, Workforce Development Boards. All of those agencies come together monthly, and we talk about NCcareers, kind of where we are. We, how do we improve the system? How do we develop the system? What are we hearing in the field and providing information? So again, my point is you are an owner of this system. So is my PowerPoint advancing? I just want to make sure that it is. Okay, good. Just making sure, because my chat just pinged and I saw PowerPoint not advancing. I was like, okay, I think that's old, but I just wanted to verify. So hopefully you guys are already familiar with NCcareers and are currently using it. This is the landing page currently of NCcareers. So when you enter www.nccareers.org into your favorite browser, this is what comes up. And as I showed earlier with that circle image, 5 main components. What we didn't want NCcareers to be is, again, that pipeline. We didn't want it to be individual comes in from the beginning and goes to the end. We wanted individuals to come in wherever they are in their career exploration and career journey. So, and the way we did that is there are 5 major buckets within NCcareers that when you enter, you can go in at any point, find my interests, explore occupations, plan my career, education, training, and job search. We all know individuals that at the age of 12 knew exactly what they wanted to do for their careers. I can't relate to that, but again, good for them. They kind of had their life planned out. So of course they have a slightly different, place in NCcareers to match. There are other people that I can relate to more of, getting ready to graduate college. I don't know what I want to do. So I graduated with a bachelor's in economics. What exactly does that mean? So it depends. Where I would start would be different from individuals that kind of know what they want to do. And then, of course, there are folks that have been out in the workforce for 10, 15 years that are looking for next steps. They're looking for new jobs. They're looking for maybe going back to school or something along those lines. Again, wherever you are, depending on wherever you are in your career journey, regardless of time and age, everybody can be at slightly different pieces. So we wanted to make sure that individuals had the opportunity to get there. So let's start with the first section of Find My Interest. And again, the video was talking about our assessments and the ability to really use those assessments and match based on your occupation, based on your interest, find occupations that match your needs. Again, the goal here is just a relatively quick preview of NCcareers, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. Play with it, and I'll share my contact information. I can come back if there's interest. You want me to really kind of drill in and focus at future sessions or something? I'm free. I would love, again, really appreciate the opportunity to speak to folks about the session. But kind of the goal today is to give a quick overview. So in the Find My Interest section, it's about finding your interest, right? So you can answer questions like, what are my interests? What occupations use my skills? What occupations would give me the most satisfactions in terms of work value? How much money do I need to make? I'm going to assume everybody's familiar. I don't know that I've ever been in a session with educators that are not familiar with reality check. For instance, I hear lots of great information. So again, reality check is a tool where individuals can go through based on where the geography and where they want to live, and understand based on the lifestyle choices, what kind of house do they need? What kind of what kind of car, what are the other expenses they're going to need to live, and understand based on those choices the salary they're going to need to make in order to live that lifestyle. Great way to potentially narrow down occupations. So it's a great place to start. Again, if students come to you and say, I don't really know who I am, I don't know, I don't know what interests. Great way to come down and ultimately narrow down the 823 occupations that are listed in NCcareers down to a manageable number. The Explore Occupations section is the next section. So this is where you're going to find the labor market information specifically about occupations. As I've alluded to and mentioned a couple of times, there are 823 occupations listed in the system. If I would wager that if we talk to students and say and ask them how many different jobs there are, or list some jobs, they could probably list 10 or 20, right? The big piece of this is that students don't know what they don't know, right? So 823 occupations, the ability just to understand all of these occupations and gather information, recognize what you know, what you don't know, and open up those opportunities is really kind of key. And how do you learn about those occupations? So each of those occupations has something called an occupation profile page, which to me really is the biggest piece of the site. I mentioned at the very beginning, again, if you're going to learn about occupations prior to NCcareers, you had to go to ONET, you had to go to the Outlook Occupational Handbook, you had to go to Star Jobs to kind of pull all this information together. You don't have to do that anymore. You can go to NCcareers and very quickly print, save, download an occupation profile page where you have all of this information in one place. And also, if you were going to all those different tools, ONET has slightly different occupational definitions than the Occupation Outlook Handbook, which is slightly different than Star Jobs, which is slightly different. So it was easy to mismatch some of that information as well. So we wanted to remove that to make sure everybody was on the same page, talking about the same information moving forward. Also, answering questions like we'll talk about a little bit in a minute around how do we understand how to grow careers, because we want individuals to get into jobs, to get into careers, but we also want them to grow, right? Having a lot of information about where do I go from here or how do I get to that occupation is really kind of key, with links to additional information off of this occupation profile page. As we've talked about, you have the ability to create using your CFNC login to log in to NCcareers. And why would you do that? Because you can mark things as your favorites. You can save information. So I have two high schoolers right now. I have a freshman and a junior. If I ask them about anything, I don't know, right? Hey, I heard that there was something that you wrote down. Can I have access to that? I don't know where that is, right? Well, the ability to save means that they have access to me. Log into your computer, which you do every day, all the time, 24/7, and show me this information. So that's great. It's a great ability to have conversations, and you know where it is. And also, the other value with CFNC specifically is, as long as you have access to that email account that you signed up with, that information will be available in the future. So once you graduate high school, in your post-secondary life, whether that's education, whether that's going to work, you have information to this work that you've done. It's a great place to continue to go back and refer to. Another thing that's key is talking about geography. So understanding the geography here, and you can very easily change the geography to either statewide or 16 sub-level state. They're called sub-prosperity zones from here, because it's really important and key to understand what's going on in your local area. We all know, so again, I saw quite a few different geographies, east to west, Piedmont, Triad, the coast, wherever. The economies are slightly different in terms of, what are the wages, what are the demands, what are the growth opportunities for different occupations. A very high growth occupation in one area may not necessarily be the highest growth occupation in a different area. The key is looking at the information specifically where you are looking for. When you're working with students, don't just assume that they're going to be interested in living where you are currently, right? I hear all the time, "Hey, I've lived at the beach my whole life. I really want to live at the mountains," or something along those lines, or vice versa. I live in Charlotte. You know what? I hear, Greensboro is a really cool place, or wherever. So understanding and changing the geography and having them look at the occupations where they're really interested in living is really valuable, kind of to have that information. Now, what are these geographies that I'm talking about? I mentioned 17 geographies. The first one, of course, is statewide. And whenever you're looking at labor market information, just go ahead and make an assumption it's statewide data until you personally have changed the data to a different geography when you're looking at NCcareers, because that's the default geography at this point. There are the 16 sub-state geographies. As you can see, you're going to recognize all the names of the areas. They're named after really the employment centers of those geographies. The counties are grouped together. We don't have the ability, based on the way the data is collected and the ability to collect data, to give you county level information. But quite honestly, employment is really regional. Nobody really cares about county lines except for those of us that have to for political reasons, for financial reasons, things like that, in terms of funding. Employers especially don't care. Job seekers especially don't care. They just want to know where they can get a job, where they can commute from here. And so what we did by looking at this regional information is the Census Bureau provides us data on how individuals commute and move around. The way that these counties were broken up is by the data tells us that if you work in one of these counties, so for instance, the Charlotte area, 3, 6, 9, the 10 counties that make up the Charlotte area, you typically, for the most part, work in one of those counties as well. That doesn't mean that people don't cross borders out of other geographies. It just tells you for the most part, that's the way the data looks. So if you live in a county that's right there on the border, you might want to look at a couple of different geographies in regions, depending on if a student is interested in going places. So again, staying on the occupation profile page, the questions that you can answer with students. So again, what are reasonable wage expectations? What are the typical duties and working environment in this occupation? Is this a good long-term prospect? What kind of education are employers typically looking for this occupation? Where can I access that information in terms of education? What skills, knowledge, and specialties do employers want when looking to hire for this occupation? And then ultimately, how do I become one in terms of how do I, again, that training, how do I match everything together in order to work in this occupation? The plan my career section is next. So again, as I talked about, this is about individuals finding a job or understanding how to get into that job that they're ultimately going to be there. We currently have three, well, essentially 3 tools, but 2 tools here. So there's the next step and first step tool, which allow individuals either starting with their current occupation to understand what the next jobs would be. And that is done by matching ONET data, understanding occupations require similar skills, but they typically pay more. So that would be an opportunity kind of to get a promotion and advancement in terms of growing a career. Or maybe you're working with, especially a student or something that is really interested in occupation that is going to be out of their reach, once they complete education. Due to lack of experience, due to maybe a lack of education or something along the lines. But how can they work backwards to understand those occupations? What would be a good first job? So you can use the first step tool in order to do that. The other tool, so this is something that's near and dear to my heart because I mentioned, I identify more with those folks that I don't know what I want to do and I'm getting ready to graduate, I'm panicking kind of thing. You can go in and you can actually enter your degree program, post-secondary, whether it's whether it's an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a certificate, and understand those occupations that degree gave you the skills to be eligible to participate for. So those tools now I think have been used and they're great tools, but we've actually a brand new release. It's a soft launch of a tool called the Career Journey Builder, where we actually have combined all three of those tools, the next step, first step tool, as well as the what can I do with my education. And again, this is being recorded April. I'll share the slides as well if you want to share the slides. We have not incorporated this into the main site yet, because the last thing we want to do, recognizing that educators are a significant user of our tools and they rely on a lot of these, is make major changes to the site in the middle of a school year, because we don't want to catch anybody in terms of lesson plans. So we will fully incorporate this into the site over the summer. We'll present it at summer conferences and continue to talk about it moving forward. But it's a blend of all of these tools where you can actually start with your education, and then let's just say your education tied to registered nurses, and then you can understand the data. So up here, so you have registered nurses. Now, what would be that next step? You can then nurse practitioners. You would drag it forward, and it would put it on the mountaintop. So it's the same data, but it's a better visualization. People understand it a little bit better, and we'll continue to kind of share that and improve that tool as well. But if you want to play with that, I will drop the link in the chat as well in just a few minutes. Before we're done, if you want to kind of play around with that. And so again, it's a soft launch, it's available, but certainly excited about that opportunity. And then education and training, right? So we talked about, what are the major goals was to align education with training, with occupational opportunities. The last thing we want to do is have somebody go to college, pursue a degree, and then realize that's not something that they want to do ultimately, right? Or maybe they get into a school, attend for a couple of years, and realize they want to pursue a degree that's not even available at that school. My example all the time is, again, I'm a big Carolina basketball fan. If I wanted to be an engineer, I don't care how great of a Carolina basketball fan I wanted to be. I didn't need to go to Carolina, right? If I wanted to be an electrical engineer, I needed to go to State. I need to go to A&T. Lots of other schools in North Carolina, Charlotte, places like that. So the program locator tool helps you understand the North Carolina community colleges, UNC system schools, or independent colleges and universities that offer those desired programs. And then we also have, for individuals that are interested in short-term training, private training private training areas, we also wanted to help people find those if they were interested in finding those. Maybe they didn't want to do a long-term training, they just want to do a short-term to earn a certificate or a credential or something along those lines. So they can find those as well in a separate tool about finding private training. And finally, any good career exploration journey should ultimately end, hopefully at some point, in applying for jobs, job search. So we link both to ncworks.gov, the North Carolina's employment portal, as well as Indeed, to find those current job listings in your area. Now, working with students, that can be great and very useful, maybe potentially finding work-based learning opportunities. So maybe you have students who are interested in one particular occupation. Go ahead and see who's hiring for that. What are the companies that are hiring? Maybe there's an opportunity for a speaker to come in and talk, if you could reach out to those businesses, or other kind of work-based learning opportunities, internship potential further down the line, stuff like that. It would be great potential use for working with students. Now, as we talked about, we've alluded to several times the ability to have an account within NCcareers. It is powered by CFNC, and students can certainly use their current CFNC login. We also have the single sign-on functionality with ncworks.gov, specifically more for the adult job seekers, but that's a very key piece. And as we've talked about, why should you do it? But the one thing that I do want to say is we strongly encourage folks to log in because your information's saved, right? You can access it later. But it's not required. 100% of the site is available whether you log in or not. And again, as we talked about, you can save your assessment results, you can save your favorite occupations, information, lots of other information moving forward. And then as we alluded to, and I think the video will do a much better job talking about than me, you as educators in schools have the ability using the Pro Tools system to access your students' information moving forward. And then finally, the last piece that I'm going to touch on here is hopefully you're already using them. Maybe you don't. So NCcareers launched in July of 2020. It actually launched at the CTE Summer Conference and has just continued to grow from there. And we've been amazed and super excited at the reception and the adoption that it's been used. One of the immediate feedbacks that we received was, hey, this is a great tool. I don't have time to get it into my classroom. I don't have time to make lesson plans. So we hired 3 educators to help us create lesson plans. And you can access those in the footer of every page on NCcareers, the educator resources link. You have access to lesson plans, and we asked them when they created them to scaffold them for middle school, high school, and then post-secondary opportunities. Encourage you to download them. They're all editable and play with them, and so use them. I don't need credit, just use them. So what else is coming to NCcareers? So we have lots of new things. So I already showed you the Career Journey Builder, lots of other really important things that are coming forward. So we're going to launch a mobile app in the next few months, which we're super excited about. We're going to add a new fun activity, something along the lines of a reality check, maybe around careers. We're really working on kind of what that does. Of course, as we all know, the legislature passed the career development plan, the law around career development plans. NCcareers will be a place that you can use and access career development plans, build them and access them to comply with the law. And then, of course, lots of other information, additional articles, information. We're going to continue to build out information from there. So we're super excited about the future of NCcareers. So in conclusion, why should you be using NCcareers? Hopefully you're already using it. Number one, it's your comprehensive career information system. It's available to you 100% 365. It's built on a foundation of labor market information. So you're not relying upon the information that you know, or your students know, or your colleagues know. You have access to all of the information on 823 occupations. So again, so you can make sure that students have the information about everything, not just what you know. Created for all ages. Of course, we don't have the ability to track, because of Google Analytics legally cannot track individuals under the age of 18. But we feel pretty confident that students are a significant portion of our user database. But again, it's there for all North Carolinians. Built specifically by North Carolina for North Carolina, with North Carolina specific statewide as well as sub-state labor market information. And again, it's free, no cost access. And then, of course, with our partnership with CFNC, you have the ability through Pro Tools to pull those student reports and access their information. So again, I threw a ton at you in about 20 minutes. So I appreciate it. I'm happy to answer any questions. And again, April, if you want to show your video now, like I said, I'm happy to stick around and answer questions or anything you need.
Perfect. And you are so right, Jamie. It did make way more sense to show the video after this month. So it all happened the way it should, and hopefully the video comes up. If not, everyone will get it in their email. Thank you so much for being here, Jamie. I hope everyone learned something great. There's so many great tools for our students to use, and my personal favorite thing about NCcareers is this specificity to North Carolina, because we have so many students that are not leaving our state. They might go from the mountains to the beach, or from Charlotte to Greensboro, or they might be in Rayford and stay in Rayford. And so either way, it's not, how helpful is it to be looking at information in other states when everything is so different just in one state, let alone, expanding. And I know everything is different in every state, not just North Carolina. So really, really great resources and tools, and really excited about things coming up. So if anyone has questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. And in the meantime, I am going to try to share. Actually, Jamie, do you mind unshare? Oh, there you go. You did it. Okay. Thank you. It's
I just stopped sharing. So while you're pulling that up, again, I shared my information. You're welcome, if you guys have any questions, to reach out to me directly. Certainly happy to help with that as well. So, and I'll drop the chat to that link to the Career Journey Builder in the chat as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, let's give this a go, guys.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Brewing Success, 5 Minutes Counselor's Guide with Constance. And I'm Constance Hollingsworth Pierce. And today we're going to take 5 minutes or less to talk about career assessments. Did you know that CFNC partners with NCcareers? Yes. Your students can go to NCcareers.org to learn more about careers and their future right here in North Carolina. And guess what? We partner with them so that you can get their information. So when your students go to NCcareers.org and they choose to sign in, guess what? They have two options, OMG. two options to sign in. We want to make sure that your students are using the CFNC account creation. They should already have a CFNC account. So this makes perfect sense. When your students go into NCcareers.org and they sign in using their CFNC accounts, when they take those assessments, you get to see their information. We've done the work for you. So let's see how that looks for you. One of our assessments that we partner with NCcareers is on career cluster matches. It helps users identify the career and technical education career clusters that matches that specific combination of work. And it's right here in your Pro Tools account. We wanted to make sure in our Pro Tools help is where at this screenshot, it looks just like your Pro Tools account. So our Pro Tools help is there to mimic what you see in your Pro Tools account to make it even easier for you. So once your students take the career assessment for the career cluster match, you can see here the data that you need for your students. It gives the clusters, the pathways, and one of the wonderful things you see, it says click on the cluster and pathway names to view the related careers. What better data can you have to build on the necessary twos for your students as you are working to making sure you're meeting them where they are? Another assessment is the interest assessment. It helps users discover which Holland codes best match their personality. And we have a lot of personalities to match. And how does that look in your Pro Tools account? Bada boom. You get to see their scores. How did they rate in each Holland code area? And if you want to know more about that area with that specific student, you can actually click on the score to view the careers that matches best with that student. So when you're holding those one-on-one sessions or those group specific sessions based on the data that you have in front of you, you're able to absolutely build and hone in on what your students need based off their scores. Another assessment we have is the reality check, and it helps users understand the income necessary to support their needs and desired lifestyles, including where in North Carolina they want to live and raise a family. That's important. The earlier we start, we already know we can help them be more successful as adults. How does that look for you in your Pro Tools? Look at this. How much do I really need to live the life that ideal life that I want? Yes, I want the fancy car, modern house. So what does that look like? This breaks it down for them, and you get to see their actual realistic, is it realistic, idealistic, or how it looks for them on how they potentially want to live. Will that job match the lifestyle? You get to help your students based on this data. Another assessment that I want to show you is Skills Matcher. It gives users the opportunity to rate their expertise on different work-related skills. You get to see that data again, and you get to see the careers it matches with. An example, so when you click on View Report, it gives you the report for that individual student. Bada bing, the data that they keep telling you need, I know about it because I was a counselor. They keep saying data, data, data. We are helping you get the data of careers that you need to help your students explore occupations, plan for occupations, and we're doing it all with one of our wonderful partners, NCcareers.org. So we have NCcareers.org. I want to remind you, if you need any assistance working through these tools, you're always able to contact me. But we also have our Pro Tools Help page, and that's your one-stop shop for Pro Tools support. You get the support for your career assessments. It walks you through. But again, you always have me. But I wanted to remind you about the Pro Tools Help. Looks just like your Pro Tools account. I'm here ready to support you. But if you have any questions on helping your students and define that data in careers, I'll try to be your girl to help you make sure that you're successful in every area that you need as you're using your Pro Tools. Thank you, and you all have a great, fabulous week. We'll see you next month.
Awesome. I love her videos. I think she does such a fun job with them. So it's much appreciated. So as we kind of, consider closing here for today, I'm going to come back over and share our last couple of slides. And folks, let me know if you can't hear anything. So hopefully we're good. Thank you again. Don't forget that you have Constance if you need her, if you need me, if you need any of your regional reps. I always show this video because we are in a coffee shop and it is on brand with what we're doing this morning. So don't forget, just for attending, you put, your student services office or whoever your direct office is for some coffee. I know a few minutes ago we talked about, or Jamie talked about, we all know that we have students that have known what they wanted to do since they were 12 and they stick through and they do it. And then we all have students and friends and whoever who are just about to graduate from college and still not sure what we're going to do. So it's so important to use those career resources. So let's take a second as we just kind of finish up today and throw in the chat. What did you plan to have as a career when you were 12? And are you doing it now? I was going to be a Broadway actress. I'm definitely not doing it now. Also, I can't sing, so that's a bit of a roadblock. Can't get over. But feel free to throw it in the chat. I think that's always fun, especially, as we're working with the students. We have Skip, who is going to be a pro skateboarder. If you know Skip, he is one of our 828 regional reps, and he has done lots of pro bike and dangerous sports where he does lots of cool things and danger. So kind of got to do some of that stuff. We've got Belinda, who wanted to be a librarian, now she's a school counselor. Not that kind of far off. That's really interesting. I love that. Model or talent agent. Yes, I think that in my retirement phase, I would like to be like a travel agent, if that's still a thing by then. That just sounds so fun, right? We've got teacher, you've got college advisor, going to be a school counselor, hotel manager, and now school counselor. But if we think about those careers, there's if you look at these, there are some similar things in them. Working with people, being a helper. There's definitely some similarities in here. We've got trauma surgeon, school counselor, same thing. Hairdresser, teacher, school counselor, yes, educator, teacher. That's awesome. Veterinarian. We had a couple vets. Nurse. We have people that want to be helpers. And so I think when we look at those Holland codes after our students take those career assessments, it's hard to have this conversation with the students of you don't have to always take it so completely literal that you have this and this career to look at, but more this is showing you what you probably already know about yourself, and that you are maybe social, you enjoy helping people, and those can go together for careers. So it's a fun topic, I think, for our students. I think it's fun. So we've got dentist, we've got all kinds of fun stuff, interior designer, entrepreneur. That's the 4E now, right? So lots of cool stuff. So that's awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed the coffee break this morning. We'll be back again next month, the second Wednesday in April. That will be April 10th at 9 a.m. We're going to have Skip Watts joining us, who is on this morning. And we're going to focus on financial literacy because April is Financial Literacy Month. And so we want to make sure that we are celebrating that as we have students moving through middle school and high school and graduating and going on to college. So important. So Skip's going to be on to talk about some of the financial wellness resources that are free. And then Constance's video is actually going to coincide again with our topic because you can run reports as educators in Pro Tools as it relates to the financial basics course. So we have stuff coming through that will be together. So once again, thank you everyone who registered. Whether you attended or not, you guys will get the video, and also Constance's video is separate if you want that. And yeah, the other ones from we've had this year are here also. So We look forward to seeing you next month. Spread the word, tell your friends, make your coffee for next month, and we'll see you then. Thank you all so much for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday and week. Bye, folks.